first time we've done something. This is the first time we've done something like this together, although
Mhm.
she's traveled with me at some of my retreats, which has been really fun. And she does end up teaching ultimately anyway. She's really good at she's really good at art directing and Procreate. And some people ask her to show some Procreate tips when we're teaching. Um, so this is our first time teaching together. We're going to be in Portugal next October. I think we have some either 4 or 6 spots left.
Mhm.
Not totally sure. We just got 2 more signups today.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
Yeah, so we're doing this live in part just to talk about that, some of the other things we both have going on next year, and then to just give a sneak peek into some of the techniques, or at least one of the techniques that we'll be sharing. I'm going to be covering floral art, which is my love.
Mhm.
So we'll be doing a lot of different types of using materials like watercolor, jelly plate, printing. I haven't formalized all the different materials that I want to teach there, and I'm going to be mindful of traveling with supplies, and we'll talk about that as we're working on things. But I love teaching. I love being around kindred spirits. And at my retreats, people of all skill levels tend to come. Like I taught in France last year, and one woman came with her high school friend who had been an accountant for 30 years and had just retired. She'd never done art before. And I love teaching all skill levels, and it's just fun when someone like that comes and they completely surprise themselves with what they're able to do. So yeah, we just wanted to share a little bit today. We're gonna talk back and forth while we're working. It's very casual.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be up first, so I'm gonna share. I did a poll on Instagram asking if you wanted to see loose watercolor, tight watercolor, or collage, and everyone said they were interested in the collage. So I'm gonna share that in the first part, and then Ken's.
I was gonna share just kind of a peek of how I approach lettering, and maybe just a few exercises if you want to work along. And then I took one of a floral border that my mom painted, and I'm gonna letter a message inside the middle of it, paint it while we're all just chatting away. So,
Yeah, so thank you all. Wasn't sure if this link was going to work. Kenzie asked me this morning, how many people are coming? I'm like, could be one, could be 100. I have no idea. So for all of you who are here, thank you.
yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
So I'm
Yes.
going to go ahead and get started.
All right. So I will
Uh,
spotlight Lori's canvas and we can chat and ask questions and all of
Oh,
that. I'll take the spotlight from this one. So we have Lori's canvas now bigger on this.
oh,
okay. Can everybody see that okay?
yeah, somebody says it's a little fuzzy. I'm
Oh,
not,
I don't know how to change that.
Oh,
yeah.
it might be on their end, Lori. It looks really good on my end. So
Yeah, it's
sometimes
clear
if
now.
the connections are slower, it takes a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, people are
Well,
saying it's clearer now, so I think
okay.
you're okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to start by showing this piece that I just did for a recent show because I used this collage method on this piece. And in this one, I used a lot of jelly plate prints that I had made. So it's not as much pattern as it is texture.
Mhm.
The piece that I'm going to work on today is more based on pattern. So I started the first phase of this piece that I'm going to work on today. And in the newsletter that I sent out, I did send out an image board of some Portuguese folk art and tile work that I was using as inspiration for the shapes and also for the color. So that's where I'm going to begin. And I went ahead and did this part first, but I'll talk through how I did it because it's a little tedious and I didn't want to bore you with that part. But just so you know how I work through the process, I initially start with doing little thumbnail sketches. I don't know if you can see these, but I do like a series. I took the inspiration board that I had created, and when we're at the Portugal retreat, I will be bringing a lot of different inspiration boards and prompts and things for the exercises that we'll do. So I did this series first, and I decided I really liked this drawing the best. So that's what I decided to go with. And then I drew it out in pencil on my canvas. And then I don't cover the whole thing with collage because I'm going to paint sections, but I like having little bits of pattern and texture show up through the piece. So what I do is I just put tracing paper over top of what I drew, and then I just trace over the with a pencil that works. I trace over the shapes, and then I have tons and tons of folders like this that I categorize by color. This actually, I put all my blue and white ones in my black and white folder for today, but I have pages like this that I've made myself where I took all kinds of patterns and just did a patchwork, and then I color copy those. So I have all these different options, but I'm constantly going through magazines and grabbing pages for just the colors and the patterns and the textures. And then I just cut up little pieces. So I would take like a piece like this. Where'd my tracing paper go? Hold on a second.
This.
Yeah. Thank you, assistant.
I'll be your Vanna.
So I would take my little tracing paper that I did, find the little area that I want the pattern in, and then I just use my X-Acto knife and cut the shapes out. And then I do it kind of all at one time. So I'll do all of my tracing of all the shapes that I want to fill with pattern. And then one by one, I go through, find the pattern for each shape, and then cut it out with my X-Acto. And then I use my matte gel medium to put those down. And I don't know if all of you have worked with that. You can use Mod Podge also, but I use golden regular matte gel medium. And when you use this, if some of you have not used it, I put a layer of the matte gel medium down. I put a layer of it on the back of whatever piece I'm gluing, put that down slowly to make sure you don't have air bubbles, and then I put a layer of the gel medium on top, and it dries clear. So now I have the basic setup for what I'm going to add paint to.
Do you use a regular canvas?
I use
Linda Boyle wants to know.
I use canvas sometimes. I use wood panels sometimes. Either will work. And I also use like mixed media paper. So any of those will work.
Right.
Okay.
And so I'm just gonna interrupt. So for the retreat, you think you're gonna be using paper, doing lots of things on paper, easy to travel?
Yeah. Yes, easier to travel. I may have people possibly bring one small wood panel, but I'm going to probably focus on mixed media paper.
Okay.
And when I teach overseas, I bring some of the supplies, and then I give a small supply list to the people attending, and I try to be really mindful of the fact that you are traveling. I did make a boo-boo at my recent one in Italy, and I had them carry a full pad of mixed media paper because I didn't know how prolific they were going to be. And turns out they didn't need that whole pad. So lesson learned there. So I'll be very mindful about what you have to pack, because I know traveling overseas is tricky and you want to travel light, especially if you're going on trains, as Kenz and I know. So for this piece, based on the inspiration, I'm basically going to work with blues, shades of blue, a little black and white, and then shades of yellow. So for some of you who like to know exactly what I'm using Liquitex gouache, and the colors are cadmium yellow, yellow oxide, a little bit of burnt sienna. I have a couple of blues, phthalocyanine blue, if I said that right, Prussian blue, primary blue, and a little bit of bright aqua, my favorite. So now that I've got this I put down yesterday, so it's all dry. And for brushes, I usually honestly buy really cheap brushes at Michael's because I'm not really good at taking care of my brushes. Because I use a lot of, gel medium, things like that kind of mess the brushes up. So I use cheap brushes and I go through a lot of them. But I just got this really cool brush set from a company called Artify. And it has this really nice array of all kinds of brushes. So I'm going to bust these out for the first time and work with those. So I pulled out a number 4, a number 10, and a number 2. So one of the things that I like to do in my paintings is I like to color block. So in between all of these areas, I'm going to select different colorways to paint in them. So you can see I did this really dark blue over here, and I went with the dark blue over here because I know I'm going to have this more bright yellow flower here. So I knew that there would be good contrast there. Over here, I'm going with a slightly lighter area, and I'm going to just continue that section with paint. So part of it is collage, and then part of it's going to be painted. And if you don't mind, I'm not going to probably talk the whole time because I'm not a big talker. I'm kind of an introvert, honestly. So if anybody has questions while I'm working, I'd be happy to answer them. I'm just going to paint, if that's okay. Do you have any questions, Kenz?
I was gonna say if we wanted to talk about maybe some of the room types that are left in Portugal.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so I think as of now, there are, Jennifer Smelker says she would love to hear more details about the trip. Got you covered.
Okay. All right.
So I think as of now, the only room types that are left are shared rooms. But I know that it can maybe be intimidating thinking about sharing a room with someone that you might not know, but I like to view it as an opportunity to make a new friend.
Yeah.
And also, with the knowledge that you're really not going to be in your rooms for too terribly long amounts of time. Like it's mostly just a hub for you to have your things and sleep. So for the most part, we'll be out and about doing things or in the studio working, and then you will share a room just for sleeping, basically.
And I'll share my experience with a shared room situation because I snore. So well, I don't anymore because now I have the lovely CPAP mask, which I discovered after sharing a room at a retreat that I should get tested. Anyway, I was really leery about sharing a room because of that, but it was actually a really great experience. And the women that I shared with, it was at the Whatever Craft House. I've taught there a couple times with Meg Dirksen. I love her place. And we just really bonded even more because we were in the same space. And like Kenzie said, we really weren't in the space all that much. We were mostly creating and then just sleeping there. But You know, there's something kind of fun about being in your jammies with a girlfriend. It's like, you
Like
know,
summer camp.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So other than that, in terms of the trip, we will be on the coast, the Algarve. I don't know if I'm saying that right. The
You are saying that
Algarve
right,
area.
yes.
Yes, okay. It's on the coast. We are staying at this really beautiful villa.
Hold on, there's a couple questions about the piece you're making really
Oh,
quick.
okay. All right.
So does the paint go on smoothly over the matte gel?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes, it does. Yeah, you can paint right over the matte gel with no problem.
And then the small drawings you showed us, are they developed through memory or do you use photos?
I put an inspiration board together for myself. I share that in my newsletter. I don't know if you all got that. If you didn't get the newsletter, you wouldn't have gotten that inspiration board. Um, the way I work a lot is I do gather reference either through taking photographs. When I travel, Kenzie will attest to this. I am taking tons of photos all the time.
Mhm.
And they're always like, you know, come on, Laura, because I'm always like running behind. And I use a lot of my own photos for inspiration. But if it's something like for this, I wanted it to be related to Portugal. So I just went on and researched Portuguese folk art, Portuguese florals, Portuguese tile work, and put an image board together. And I like working that way because it gives you a place to start visually. So then I just kind of, while I'm developing my sketches, I'm looking at the reference image board that I created for myself.
Um, Circling back to Portugal, somebody asked, what about husbands who are they able to come along but not participate? And can he be added as an extra body rate?
That I might have to get back to you on that question. Let's see, whoever asked that, I'll have to,
Phoebe.
because this is a new company that I've not taught with before, and I did teach in Italy this year, and three of the women did come with their husbands, and they did not. One of the husbands participated, the others did not. And it was actually really nice to have the men there.
Yeah, we would eat meals with them and they would go on the excursions and
Yeah,
then
it was really fun.
yeah.
So, if you follow me on Instagram, if you don't mind sending me a direct message and I can ask them and get back to you on that. And I'm sorry I don't know the answer offhand. But I get it. I'm trying to talk my husband into traveling with me more. He did go to Italy this year. He's an anxious traveler, let's just say that. So this year he did meet me, and Kenzie and I and our family met after the Italy retreat, and it was really, really fun. And I also get that a lot of people may want to come to the retreat, but they might want to travel other places before or after. A lot of people do that. One woman in Italy, her husband met her after, and they went on and traveled for like a couple more weeks together. So that's pretty common.
Yeah. So
And
we would love for him to join. We'll just get back to you on what the pricing or structure of that would look like.
Right.
Yeah.
so I was gonna ask you both, Lori and Kenzie. So when you're there on the retreat, you have some painting days, but you also do some excursions, go out, have a chance to take pictures, see lots of places, and then come back to the studio a few days and work.
Yeah, actually, two of my friends, Gail Cabaker and Jennifer Orkin Lewis, they have taught at the same venue, and I mean, the pictures are gorgeous, but they said it's beautiful, and it's like got botanical gardens right on the grounds, and then it's a very short walk into a neighboring village. But one of the days we will go into a local village, and another day we're going to take a sailing excursion on a sailboat, and there's like the pictures I've seen in that area that looks amazing. There's lots of caves, and so it'll be really, really cool.
Oh, someone just said, it says on UpTrack's FAQs, we do not accommodate non-participants at our art retreats. This policy is in place to ensure the artistic and immersive nature of our retreats remains intact for all participants.
So if you want to down the road accompany me on another retreat, I'm teaching in Italy. Well, I'm teaching 2 times in France in 2026, and then once in Italy in 2027. And those places accommodate spouses.
Yes.
So this company, they just have a different policy. And I apologize for not having read the FAQs before we got on here and did this. I should know these things.
Well, this is a new company we're working with, so we're still learning the ins and outs.
Yeah, exactly. So Kenz and I, like, the way I like to teach is I like to have variety of different methodologies and techniques so that you can try different things and then kind of decide what your favorites are. Like, for example, I taught in France a couple years ago, and we did during one retreat, we did block printing, alcohol inks, and watercolor, I think, on that one. You were there. Do you remember that? Anyway, and some people loved the block printing, others gravitated more towards some of the watercolor. Or I just taught in Connecticut not too long ago, and everybody loved the alcohol inks, but they weren't as in love with maybe the watercolor. So I like to give different experiences. And another example, I taught in France last year, or I think last year, and I was intentionally keeping the projects small because, again, you're traveling, so it's hard to travel with all kinds of gear. But one woman halfway through expressed to me that the reason she had signed up is she wanted to learn how to paint big, bold florals from me. So I kind of shifted gears on the spot, and I thought about how can I do that in a somewhat tight space with not the right materials. But I ended up taping 4 11 by 17 pages together for each person, and then taped them to the wall, and then taped newspaper around them, and we painted big, bold florals. And it ended up being one of the best exercises because a lot of people aren't used to working big, and they were kind of terrified at first. I got this look of terror on some of their faces because they're so used to working really small. But once they got into it, it was so joyful in the studio that day, and it really ended up being a great exercise. So it's kind of fun just to mix it up and maybe do things that are not in your comfort zone
And adapt.
and adapt.
Yeah, because I was also going to say I do primarily work digitally, and as of now, I'm not planning to teach lettering digitally. However, if people are interested in learning like tricks on the iPad, I will have it with me because I don't travel without it. So that's another thing that we can add to the docket as we're going through the week.
So you can kind of see that I'm just kind of working out the background first. And when there's a darker element, and around it, I'm doing something lighter and vice versa. And if it's something blue, I'm putting yellow next to that. So it's just this kind of back and forth with the colors. I have a question for people. What do have all of you or have you attended retreats before, and what are some of your favorite things about being at a retreat? Anyone?
Write some of your thoughts in the chat.
The synergy of community. That's what Charity says.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Creating with a group.
Oh, Charity. Hi, Charity. Charity's actually attending. Jennifer Smelker's attending. I'm not
Mhm.
sure how many others that are actually signed up to come along, but so some of the people that I've already taught at other retreats are coming along on this one, which I'm so excited about that.
Oh, so many good answers. Okay.
Okay, share.
Checking in the AM with insights and thoughtful conversation. Getting to know like-minded people. Yes, the kindred spirits. That's the best part for me. Inspiration from variety of people. Some people, this will be their first retreat, which is exciting.
Oh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. Getting away from the daily distractions. I feel that in my bones.
Because you have two small kiddos.
Not that I want to get away from them, but it's just nice to be in your own thoughts.
Right. Well, you're
Go
there
to the
as an
bathroom.
artist, not as a mom, so that's good.
Yeah. Time to create uninterrupted community. Oh, somebody asked, how did you get your designs on the board? They missed the beginning.
Oh, you can do the grid method. I don't know if you know how to do that, but where you draw the grid over the smaller drawing and then enlarge the grid, but I just do it by eyeball. I just take my little sketch that I drew and I just kind of eye it out and draw it in pencil on the bigger canvas.
Yeah, you can also use the graphite paper, the one that have like
That's
it on the back. So like you do your drawing on a paper first, then you put the graphite down, your paper on top, and you trace it, and it will transfer it like transfer paper. Will transfer it to
yeah,
your.
I did that actually on some larger pieces that I'm doing as a commission. I used that method because they were really large. I mean, this size was kind of easy to just eyeball, but when you're going to a big scale difference, it's a little more challenging. So then I do use that method.
Mm-hmm. And somebody said it looks like even though you have a plan, you're also able to be loose with the execution, like you're feeling it out as you go.
Exactly. And Kenzie will tell you this, because she sometimes is a little more timid about painting, because she doesn't do it as much. She's more.
I like to paint with an eraser just as much as I like to paint with color.
So she sometimes is a little like worried about making a mistake. And what do I always tell you?
You can paint over it.
Yeah. In fact, I just asked her son, our grandson, Holden, who's a little budding artist. I asked him the other day, what's the best thing about being an artist? And he said, because if you make a mistake, you can always fix it. I'm like, you have learned properly. Mimi has taught you well.
Yeah, like I said, I do work digitally mostly. And so when I am physically painting, I've been known to try and double tap on the painting
Yes, you did.
to undo.
That's cool.
Like, undo, undo. It does not work.
I want to talk about like some past trips, and meeting up and all of that. So you fly into, I think it's the Faro Airport, and they'll have pickups at assigned times. If there are any like flying into some place that require trains or whatever, I do like to communicate, have a way to communicate as a group ahead of time. Like I did a residency this year, and I was really nervous about traveling by myself. And we had a WhatsApp group, and it was really nice because we coordinated our flight times and arrival times. And we were able to meet up at the airport and share a taxi to the train station, travel on the train together. So I like to do, kind of be helpful in terms of travel questions, and UpTrek is also good about that as well. So if you're not, comfortable traveling uh, overseas, I try to ease those issues. But I will say, so I was nervous about traveling by myself, but it's one of those things. I believe that when you face a fear and you conquer it, you build that much more confidence. So now that I've done that,
Mhm.
it's just, I don't know, I'm far more confident. And we have had a lot of people come with friends. Like I did a retreat in France a couple of years ago, and a whole quilting group from Utah all signed up together. So that was pretty fun.
Mhm. That was fun.
So the people who are attending, who are already signed up, do you have any more questions you wanted to ask? Let me know, let us know. And you can always send me a direct message too if you want to ask me anything after this.
Recommendations for travel insurance.
I think they might have that on the site, but I can, again, if you want to send me a DM, I can get you some information on that. My husband takes care of all that stuff, so he's handled that in the past, so I'd have to ask him and get you the information. Charity, if you're still there, have you traveled out of the country before?
I have, not by myself, but I have.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
so
excited to
glad.
try it by myself.
I know.
You're right, though,
No,
Lori. There is
it's,
something that's super empowering, right? When you do something new.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And sort of like today, both of us were saying how nervous were about doing this today because it's kind of like the first time we've done this. But I kept saying to Kenz, I'm like, well, it is free. So even if we mess it up, no one's out any money.
But you're doing great, Lori, and your painting is looking amazing.
I don't know if I'm loving all the yellow. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm
We know you're
debating.
gonna pull it together, Lori, so keep on tracking.
Yeah, I might kind of, I think I'm gonna go back over some of this yellow and make it more about the blues, the blue and white.
Lori, I do have a question specific to the trip.
Yeah.
Um, I always packed super light. I literally have contemplated just putting everything in a backpack and not even dealing with roller luggage. I've done that for other trips, but not internationally. With the supplies that you think you will have us bring, do you think traveling with just roller luggage or even just a backpack would be possible?
Try really hard to make that possible because I I've learned my lesson many times now, but I too would really love to just have a backpack or
Mhm.
something smaller. I mean, the last couple trips, I had a backpack and a very small roller, even with all my supplies, but I'm going to even try to compact that more. So I will be very mindful of that
Okay.
with this. And I would rather maybe bring more luggage with me than having you have to deal with it.
Worst case, I always bring an extra foldable bag with me, and then I have room for goodies that I've purchased because that seems to be my downfall. So,
Great. Yeah, because I've ended up having to buy another piece of luggage at many places I've gone.
yep.
Because I don't know. I'm gonna try. I've been cleaning out my studio and realizing that I don't need to purchase stuff as much. I need to purge. But I don't know. There's something about when you're traveling and you have access to things that you wouldn't have access to at home.
I'm planning to go early and travel other parts of Portugal before on my own. And so I know I'm going to be really taken in with all the yummy tiles and just all the pattern. It's just going to be hard to not want to
Yeah.
take things home with me.
And if we can swing it, I think I would love to do the same because I'd love to hit Lisbon and some of the other areas in Portugal ahead of time. That would be
The
really fun.
airport that's closest that we're at Faro that we're getting picked up from is really tiny, so it's not a direct flight anyway. So I figured it's pretty, we're going to already be flying into a different major hub, whether that's Madrid or Lisbon or Porto. So I figure it won't be
We'll
too
take it.
difficult to like figure that out.
Yeah. I'm so glad you're coming. The people who have signed up already are so fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
I'm
great.
super excited. I can't wait to meet everybody.
Yeah, me too.
So Charity, meet Jen. I'm not sure if Denise or Heather are on here or not. A lot of them are repeat people from other retreats that I've taught at, so that makes me feel great.
Lori, there there was one question about the France trip. So Cynthia was saying she would be going into France for the retreat and would love to have names and numbers of others who plan plane and then train from Paris. So you were saying that for all the retreats, you create a group on WhatsApp for people to meet ahead of time and change numbers and contacts and all of that, right?
Yes. And what happens typically after a lot of my retreats is those groups carry on past the retreat. Like I have retreats that are still texting or messaging one another like a year, 2 years later.
Yes.
Because you make those kind of bonds at these often, especially when you're there for, a pretty good amount of time together.
It is like a summer camp. Oh, can you speak a little louder?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm soft-spoken.
Mhm.
Should I repeat all that I just said?
Yes, from the beginning.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to like talk while you work. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that because and usually I'm thinking more about what I'm doing. Right now, I'm just kind of doing.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I think it helps you be more loose though as you're talking and painting at the same time, not thinking too much about it. You're just going with the flow, and yeah, it's looking great, Lori.
There's definitely something about that because like I did a lot. I do these challenges a couple times a year on Instagram with Esty McLeod. And the last one we did, I had pre-planned one of the paintings and it was pretty tight. And then while we were on the call, I just did another one without planning it. And I liked that one much better. It was, I don't know, I just liked it a lot better. And it was just completely spontaneous and loose. So I love color, and so does Kenzie. So a lot of what we will be sharing are ways to approach color, different color palettes, finding your style and what you love. And I mean, Charity, you've been with me when I've taught before. Can you speak to my teaching style?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Can you guys hear me? I have my earbuds in. I'm not sure if you can hear me very well.
Yes, you sound great.
Okay. 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 So I'm just going to speak to the group because Lori's amazing and she's such a fun teacher. I was blown away by how generous Lori was with her knowledge, but also with her praise. Like I was just blown away by the whole experience in general. Um, but Lori, you're so generous with your experience, with your knowledge, with your love even. I would get emotional about it. That's so dumb. But it was just it was like it was so healing for me to work with Lori. And I think anyone who has the opportunity to go on a retreat that she does is take it because it's life changing and so wonderful. Lori, you're amazing.
Oh.
You're gonna make me cry. Well,
Charity, this is Kathy. I don't want you to feel bad, so I'm gonna just double up on what you said because Lori really is like such a unique person in terms of, like you said, her sharing and just how, first of all, I told our mutual friend Mandy the other day that I just really wanted to fly to Lori's house and punch her in the nose because she's so prolific with her art. It just is like it's like an ocean of she just every day is making these beautiful, beautiful things. And you'd think that somebody who, was that busy wouldn't take time for their friends, but she does. And Kenzie is just like her. And so if you have the opportunity to spend any time with either or both of them, especially both, you really need to take it because it's just, I mean, we were like best friends and we hadn't even met in person yet. That's what Lori's like.
everybody kept mistaking us for one another.
Yes. Yeah. We were twins from different, sisters from different misters, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I love you. And I was going to say she's one of a kind, but Kenzie's definitely cut from the same cloth, so
Thanks.
yeah. So
I learned from the best.
Yeah, you did. And I'm just noticing on this call how much your laughs are the same.
Yeah,
So.
we're gigglers. Yeah. You know what? I'd love for my sister to come on one of these because we are really gigglers. When she and I are together, it's like a giggle fest.
I got a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey, this is Willie. Hi, Lori, Kenzie.
Hi.
Yeah, I got a question. I'm not seeing most of the people. I don't even see a blanked out screen. Because it's just like 4 of us or so. Is that?
No, I think not unless people left.
No, there's still a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
hear
don't
people
know.
talking and I don't see them, and I don't see a
We
blank
have
screen. That's
we have right
curious.
now 57 people in here, so there's lots of
Wow. I don't
people.
know. Usually
Oh,
you put it in a grid and see everybody, but I don't. So I was just curious. That's all.
it's just the view since we have the view vote focused on the working space.
Oh, okay. Actually, I got the down arrow. I can kind of go down and see people. So perfect. Because I'm like, I know more people are on this call because we're talking.
Where is everybody?
Are you on
Yeah.
your computer or your phone?
I'm on my computer, but like I said, I thought I had did the grid and it would have shown everybody, but there's a down arrow that I can just kind of, I see Jennifer. So now I see people. So
The Artist Jammers.
yeah, thanks for doing this, Lori and Kenzie. That was so nice of you guys.
Oh, I'm glad that you guys could all join.
Yeah, we didn't know if anybody would even show up.
Yeah.
We're like, well, let's just try this.
Definitely a fake it till you make it kind of moment.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you to Anna for giving us the courage.
Yes.
She's had to talk us down.
Oh yeah, you're all welcome. I'm excited. I was super excited that you guys invited me to come and help you out. So yeah, I see some people that are working along. So I think might have some paintings coming out of this
That's very
meeting
cool.
We
today.
can do
So
a share.
exciting.
Maybe. That's fun.
So Lori, I don't want to rush you or anything, but we're about 50 minutes in. So you know how time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, just
Okay, well, I'll probably share this finished piece on Instagram. And we're recording this because a lot of people said they couldn't make it today. So I'm gonna try to find a way maybe to put it on YouTube. My tech savvy friend Mandy said she would help me with that.
oh good.
She does YouTube. I don't think you do that much, do you, Anna?
I don't, but I'll figure
You
it
do.
out. So we're recording and we'll figure it out after when we're done. So
You're not a tech phobe like me. I have tech phobia. Well, I think I shared. I once was speaking on a summit, an online summit, and there were 700 people there. And my beautiful visual PowerPoint presentation wouldn't work. And it was on a weekend. I was at the office, and my typical person that helps me with tech was unreachable. And so I had to talk through my whole presentation with no visuals. Oh my God, was I sweating? So I've had like PTSD ever since, I think, about anything live. You all have any more questions about what I'm doing here? Comments, feedback, whatever.
Lori, what will you do in between the petals of the big flowers? I'm wondering why it was blocked out into a circle.
I think what I'm gonna do is go in and add like I'm gonna keep adding petals. So I think I'm gonna between each one, I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
And then I might just go in and like paint in the background, or I might keep it circular. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'll kind of decide as I go. This didn't turn out how I had it in my brain at all. So it may radically change before you see it again. That happens a lot.
Will you cover the whole thing at the end with the gel medium?
I actually use a spray gloss varnish, and I put like 3 or 4 coats because it's easier and faster. So that's my cheat method.
And then do you generally figure out your colors before you begin, or do you just wing it?
I figure out my color palette before I start, and I'm one of those people that I like all colors, but then I love art that has a minimal palette. I'm always more attracted to that, but then I start painting and I put every color under the sun into it. So I find that if I have like an image board or something to start that has the color palette, then I will stick to a more narrow palette and I just end up liking it better.
Do you have the gloss spray here?
I don't, but I either get a Liquitex or a golden gloss varnish and it's like in like a spray can.
Okay.
So it's really easy to apply. So I should probably clean up so you can move over here.
Okay.
So
Hey, Lori. Hey, Lori. I'm definitely not going to be able to go abroad this year. Are you doing anything a little closer to home?
Funny you should ask me that question, my friend. So yeah, I'm teaching next year. I'm hosting a conference in May, May 5th to the 8th, and it's at this beautiful place in Milton, Kentucky, near Madison, Indiana. And we have about 10 speakers, all women that are fabulous. And it's about inspiring yourself to create goals for yourself and network with other women that will support you in that. We'll have a dance party to close it. It's going to be amazing. That's called Live Courageously Rebloom. I'm teaching in Portland in April with Carrie Schmidt and Jessica Swift again, which is where I met Charity. I'm teaching in Vermont in July, and then I'll be in France in the end of August, and then hopefully, if we fill this Portugal retreat, we'll be in Portugal in October. And then Kenzie has some things too.
Oh, yeah. I'm also teaching a retreat in Milton, Kentucky, but a separate event. It's more of a smaller 16 people, 18 people retreat. I'm teaching with 3 of my artist friends. And it's all about restarting a sketchbook practice and just getting together and making art with friends.
Oh, one other thing I did want to share before I turn this over to Ken's. So we've been posting prompts every Monday called Words and Wildflowers through my newsletter. And I've been using those prompts to create spreads in a journal. And I'm going to bring all of these prompts with me to Portugal, and we may do some of these as an exercise. I am totally a artist and designer groupie. So I research different artists that I find inspiring who are doing beautiful floral work in unique ways and lettering in unique ways. So I share that in my newsletter once a week, and some of this is going to come into play at the retreat also. All righty, you're up, kid. We're switching spot. Okay.
As we're switching over, I'm just gonna let everybody know that I have posted some of the links in the chat for the Living Courageously retreat, and then the link to all retreats that are coming up for Lori, so from her website. If you go on the chat, just click there and you can see all of them.
You are the best. Thank you. So you think of things like that. I didn't think of doing that.
That's okay. You're welcome.
Here, you need to grab my stuff. I made a big mess as usual. I'm the messy one in the family. She works very tidy on her Procreate, and I make a mess wherever I go.
Okay. So I thought I mostly am showing just kind of how my approach to lettering. So I thought to start, if for anyone who's not familiar with my work, this is the calendar that I designed for this year that kind of, I'm just going to flip through, that shows some of my lettering pieces. And then I'm going to show kind of a little preview of my process, how I work. And then, like I said, I am going to paint inside of a floral border that my mom painted the florals, and I'm going to do the lettering. So it's a collaborative piece. So these are just a handful of lettering pieces that I've designed. And when I approach lettering, I like to think of the letters as shapes versus as the actual letters, because I think that you figure out compositionally more of what I want to achieve. So if I think of them as shapes, and how can the shapes interact with other shapes, or how can they interact with each other? How can they puzzle piece together so that it's not, I think people can get intimidated by thinking of letters as their own entity. But when you start to think about them as pieces within the composition, it helps me to then bridge that gap. So I'm just going to flip through these really quick, just to give you an idea of a taste of how my work usually looks. Like, for instance, I love thinking of how I can fit text within other shapes to see how it can like create one holistic piece, or playing with patterns within letter forms, or bringing in discoverable details that might not necessarily, you wouldn't think would be, like changing an O to a flower, or what are those little touches that just add that little extra special quality to the letters themselves.
Isn't she talented?
Okay.
I'm a proud mom. Can't help it.
Okay. So to give you an idea of how I work, like I said, I do work digitally primarily, but whenever I am starting, I have to work my thoughts out pen to paper. So my sketchbook is not as colorful as my mom's is, because I work in black and white ink pens, but I think that this kind of gives you an idea of how I start to think about how letters can work within each other. Or these were some invitation designs where I was thinking, how can I have the information live within the illustration itself? Or for like, this was a tablescape, and maybe the words can kind of work within the table. Or I love this one. This is a good example, I think, because I wanted the word home to be created out of a house. So using the window as the O, and like, this is just how can you bring the message into the art itself? So I'm just gonna flip through this really quick. These are some doodles from my kids. So yeah, I work in these black and white ink pieces first.
Charity says, I love your work, Kenzie.
Oh, thank you. I
Oh,
appreciate
Mitzi's
that.
here too. Hi, Mitzi.
These are my latest sketches as I'm working on some holiday things. And then for today, what I wanted to show was to bring it back to Portugal, we did kind of look up some quotes that were then translated in Portuguese. And the way I usually work is I will sketch out different ideas all in one page, and then pick my favorite to kind of bring to life. So I wrote out the quote in English, Maya Angelou quote, life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away. I thought that was really fitting for what I think this retreat is going to be. And And then I wrote it in Portuguese and then started brainstorming some different ways of how I could letter it on an actual piece. So that was my sketching. And then now I'm going to kind of just paint my little actual, it's hard to see, but I'm thinking it'll kind of like show up as I go. So if you have any questions, it'll be like a magic trick.
Somebody asked where you can buy the calendar. It was made by a company.
I needed that water.
Oh, I stole her water.
Sorry, she was.
Do you want clean water?
Maybe, yeah.
I'll get some clean water.
So it was licensed through Sellers Publishing. I don't know specifically what stores it's in, but I've seen it in a handful of bookstores. I'm not sure if it's in Walgreens or CVS, but they do have like an end cap there usually. It's weird when you license art because your stuff shows up in places that you don't even know, and then you kind of just stumble upon it. But if anybody's interested, I do have 5 samples that I could send. Okay.
Kenzie, Angie asked, is the artwork created first, and you add your lettering around after, or how do you do it?
So this one, like this piece specifically?
In general, I'm thinking. You do it.
So at this retreat, we're going to do it a lot of different ways. We'll try different exercises, but honestly, what I did these borders for is we were going to do a series of promotional reels for this retreat, and we thought it would be fun if we kind of do a collaborative thing where I do the floral borders and she fills in the type. So we did post another reel like this where I did another border. So this is one of the borders that I painted with loose watercolor, and then she's going to add the lettering to it.
But I think one of the goals of the retreat is kind of thinking of how to bridge florals and lettering together. And so we wanted to kind of show one possible way that you could do that by creating floral borders and then adding in your message to the middle. Or maybe we can do more pieces that are more cohesive, kind of along these lines where, the flowers are intermixed within the letters. We're going to do a whole bunch of exercises. Another thing that I like to do is just fill a page with the same letter. So that's an exercise if you want to practice just like anything that comes to your mind. How would a V look like in an entire page? Just whatever comes to your brain of what a V could look like.
Like all different styles,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And then from there, you could pick your favorite and create like a whole alphabet in that same style. So,
Oh, Betsy just ordered somebody ordered your calendar.
oh,
And Mitzi found it. Boy, this group's on it.
you got it. Good job. So, unlike my mom.
Oh, what paint are you using?
Oh, yeah,
Somebody
sorry. This is this handy little watercolor set that I'm obsessed with that actually my son got for his birthday present and I stole it. But the brand is Meeden watercolors. And then I'm also using, this is my Faber-Castell watercolor, like travel watercolor set too. And I love these watercolor brushes that have the water inside. Does this have a special name? Do you know?
I don't think so.
Okay. But I like it because I think it's more reminiscent of my Apple Pen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what I was going to say is, unlike my mom, I actually don't usually go into art with a color palette in mind. I might have a loose idea, but I sort of let things happen naturally. And if I feel like I'm missing a certain color or um, I will add as I go. This one I was kind of just basing off the colors that my mom started with in her border.
So Jennifer, I think since you do licensing, you will be able to leave this retreat with some stuff that you can show to manufacturers.
I actually, you just reminded me of a question. When you're using for your collages, like the project that you did, when you're using, do you ever run into problems using the, magazine clippings and that sort of thing? Do you ever license your collage work, or is that not quite possible because of worrying
Well,
about,
to
right?
be honest, a lot of times, so I do a couple things for the collage fodder part. A lot of times I paint my own collage papers with my own patterns, and that's something we will do at this retreat. Um, I do that for the most part, but when I'm doing the magazine tears, I don't use any pattern that is like really recognizable. Like I wouldn't use an Orla Keeley pattern or, you know, I always use like little slivers, so they're kind of unrecognizable. So it's either something that's, it might be a Suzanne print or something, but it's not a specific designer print. It's maybe something that's more traditional and kind of more general. And then I'm using such tiny little swatches for the most part that like years ago, this question came up and I actually did talk to our attorney about it. And she said if it's a tiny little swatch and it's not making up a good portion of the image, you don't have to worry about it. And she also said, like I said, stay away from anything that's like, I wouldn't use a Marimekko pattern or something that's really, who the designer is that did it. Does that answer your question?
It does. Sorry, I muted myself. So yes, that does. Thank you.
If any of you have questions about licensing too, Kenzie and I've been licensing for 20 years and Ken's,
For 10,
yeah,
which is crazy.
yeah, it is crazy. Can you tell us the name of the first watercolor set again?
Sure. It's Meeden watercolors.
Can you spell that?
Meeden. I can try to find a link too.
You said they sell those at Michael's? I don't think I've ever seen anything like that at Michael's.
Okay, I'll have to look.
I will post a link. I found a link for Midden Art. So
Oh, you did.
Thank you.
Oh, I was going to talk a little bit about packing beyond like trying to pack as light as you possibly can. And it's really is nice if you can do it like backpack style, especially if you're going to get on and off trains. Um, I actually was researching backpacks with wheels because sometimes you're going to find yourself waiting in customs lines and things like that. So it's nice if you have something on wheels if your backpack gets heavy. But in terms of packing like materials, I am really careful about, I like all my paints, I put tape around, like masking or painter's tape around every lid. And I put each one, all my paints into plastic bags that zip lock. And so that if anything were to explode in your suitcase, you wouldn't have paint all over everything. And then Anna, you were talking about something your husband just bought for travel.
Yes, so I just traveled a couple of days ago, and we got this bags on Amazon. There are you can vacuum them, like they're like Ziploc bags. They close in one side, but they have a little lid. You take it out. It comes with a pump, and you pump the air out, and so it vacuums it in. So like something that's like this big gets reduced to this small, which was really handy because I wanted to travel with carry-on only. I didn't want to have anything checked in. So it was pretty amazing. I'll look it up and I'll post the link on the chat as well. And then the other thing I usually have for traveling, I have a bag that has wheels and is a backpack from Lug, Lug. Lug Life, I think is the website, and I'll post those as well for people to check it out.
I need that one. I was looking all over for like that. Is it the one that you got on wheels? Is it expensive?
It's pretty expensive. I mean, not super expensive. I think I'm just looking it up, around 240 US. They're
Well, that's not
like a good amount of
I think
money, but you use it forever.
it would be worth it though. 'Cause I got stuck in a customs line once for over an hour, and I had this ginormous backpack and it was killing my back, and this really nice German man in front of me asked if he could put my backpack on his wheelie suitcase, which was awesome. So I learned that lesson. Like, yeah, you gotta prepare for any situation.
The other thing I learned too for traveling, some people, some of my friends that just traveled to do a residency in France. So they were saying that they'll pack all the, like all the tubes, close everything properly in Ziploc bags, kind of stuff. And they go into Golden and Liquitex website, and you can print something that says that they are water-based paints.
Oh,
A little bit of information on the paint itself in case you get stopped and people, like on customs, they will start asking you all these questions about paint. Because if you say it's only paint, people think it's oil-based. And so, yeah, like you can print from Golden and Liquitex information about the paints to have it in your backpack as well. So
now I've traveled with acrylics and gouache. I don't normally paint in oils, and I've never had a problem. I should not say that. I should say knock on wood. I mean, that is the thing about traveling. You have to just be flexible and be patient.
Yes. And no, it will most likely work out.
Yeah, things work out.
If you miss a train, just get on the next one.
Exactly. You aren't checking luggage. How do you get through TSA with the liquid requirement? I always bring my, like, these little Liquitex paints they're two fluid ounces, so I can bring a whole bag full of those. So I And the same with the acrylic tubes. Like I've never had a problem, and I've actually put some of those in my carry-on, and I've been just fine. Greta! Oh my
Yes.
gosh! I spoke about you earlier about the exercise we did when we were in France.
Yeah.
Were you on for that?
No, no.
Oh, yeah, I talked about how you had said you wanted to paint big, bold florals, and so we ended up doing that one day,
I love that.
and how it ended up being a really great exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. And how everybody was a little scared at first when we did it. It's fun to see. Well, I can't see all of you, but thanks for everyone coming.
Yeah.
Like we were saying, we don't know how many people will be here. It could be no one. It'll just be the three of us painting together. Will we need to bring our own paint to Portugal? You can bring some, but I will also have some. So what I found on this recent Italy retreat is, like there was a lot of sharing of materials too. Like I bring paint, so people that didn't have paint, I have it on hand. Um, the other thing, and I don't know if we can arrange this here, maybe, I don't know, but when I did the France retreat, um, a bunch of the artists actually did an Amazon order when we were there and ordered stuff. So I don't know if that's available in this area. I could check on that. But you've traveled a bunch internationally, Sue, I know. Oh, and I think you asked me about Vermont. Yes, I am going back to the Smiley Manse in July. That was super fun there. And it's actually going to be a junk bird and assemblage theme, which I know you were interested in that last time, and we didn't get to do that.
The message is showing up.
I take Posca pens, Betsy says.
I love pasta pens.
Well, thanks, Susan. I loved having you on the Mexico one. I'm actually going back to San Miguel with some friends in February, and I'm staying the first night at Casa de la Noche. So I'll think of you there.
That was such an amazing retreat.
Oh my God. Yeah. I do want to do a retreat again in Mexico because I love it in Mexico. I love the color. So it's on the bucket list. And you're teaching too now, right?
I am. I am doing hands-on creativity workshops in my home studio here in Lawrence, Kansas.
That's amazing.
Now, I did one on Saturday with we did ceramic snow people.
Oh, how
Yeah,
fun.
that sounds fun.
Yeah, it was super fun. Yeah, I want to be Lori when I grow up.
Well, I think I've shared this a few times, but the reason I'm doing all the travel and everything is over the last few years I lost both parents. We sold our studio building of 30 years and paid off some debt. I turned 60 and I just decided, okay, if you have some dreams, you better get on making them happen. So I've been doing a lot more travel teaching for as long as I can because you just never know. I have some friends that are going through some health stuff right now, and I don't know, just makes you realize better do it.
Life's too short.
Let's see. Do you know what what you're doing for the Art of Love retreat. Mitzi's asking that. I think I'm going to do, when I was in Mexico, I fell in love with these, they're like these dolls that have a clay head and then a canvas body that you can hang on the wall. So I'm thinking of doing those, or I might do, instead of junk birds, I might do junk flowers. So I'm still kind of debating on that. And maybe I'll even ask Carrie to poll the group on what they'd rather make, or maybe we'll do both.
They both sound
Did you,
fun.
you're coming to that one, right?
I am, yes.
I thought so. And Tanya too, right?
Now Tanya's coming, and I think, oh, I don't think Charity's coming, but just Tanya and I
Coming to
are.
Portugal.
And Krista. Krista's
Oh,
coming
and
too.
Krista. Oh, oh, I
Yeah.
love her.
No, I'm super sad to miss it. This is Charity again. I had to
Uh,
choose.
We will miss
huh.
you.
Portland,
Maybe,
Portland or Portugal? Huh.
maybe we
I
will
think you're making the right choice.
FaceTime with you maybe when we're there.
I would love that.
That we should do that.
You can do it.
I loved the brush birds that you guys got together and made.
They were so fun.
So I started making these weird brush birds, which some of you might have seen on Instagram. And Mitzi, Tanya, and Charity got together and they made some of them in a little weekend retreat they had, and they turned out really cool.
That's fun.
Although
Have
we've
to
been
run.
obsessed with eyes ever since. So we were trying to find those eyes, those cool eyes that you have.
I'm actually going to San Miguel to that art supply store, and I can buy you some if you want, because I was searching for them on Amazon and I couldn't find those exact ones. So I
I
can
would love
pick
that.
up.
I would
I
love
guess I
it.
missed saying goodbye to Betsy. What are junk flowers and birds? So if you go on my Instagram feed and just scroll down, I started during COVID. There was a show called Making It that was hosted by Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman. And during COVID, they did these online challenges, like making challenges. And the first one was a junk drawer challenge. And I made this, what I called a junk bird with, like, I used golf tees for the legs and rubber bands I wrapped around the body. And so it was all made out of junk. And that started an obsession. And so I have a ton of them and I've taught classes on that. And actually, last year in Portland, we made junk birds and they made the most beautiful ones. Oh, I'm so sorry, Phoebe. I lost my mom from Alzheimer's too. I lost her in 2020. Oh, I love that you're. Oh, I did an art class when my mom was in memory care. I did one with the residents and the caregivers, and it was amazing. I love that. Those were direct messages to me, so not everyone saw that. Phoebe said that she lost her mom to dementia in 2023. Oh, I missed something about a show somebody said. Oh, the Making It show. Duh, what I was talking about. I actually applied to be on that show and I got an interview. So I made like to one of the first cuts, but I didn't, when I applied, I was like, if I actually got on.
You got a call out from Nick Offerman, though.
I know. Oh, Kath, I know you did. I know. She lost her brother to dementia. It's horrible. Yep, I lost my mama. Same way. Oh, Vicky, sorry you have to leave. Thanks for coming. Do you guys have more questions for Ken? She's just like tooting along over there.
I know I was gonna ask a question for Kenzie. I'm just watching you and it's mesmerizing to see how you paint. So I see you have it all like different colors, your letters, right? How do you do that?
I've just been doing letter by letter, color by color, just kind of loosely. I kind of loosely go by what the rainbow is. So thinking about like red through violet, and go letter by letter that way. But this, I've been bouncing around, basing it off of the colors that are in the flowers, and then just sort of doing whatever feels right.
Yeah.
It's, I haven't really been putting much thought into it because I've been focusing on listening and also, yeah, just in my head a little bit because I was nervous.
Yeah. So each color kind of bleeds into the next one that you pick?
Yeah. So like I might do like half of a letter of the next letter in the same color.
Okay.
And then bleed in with another one so that it sort of looks intent like that they are blending.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. There's lots of comments saying they look great. They're beautiful rainbow letters.
Thank you. And then I'll probably go back in with my Posca pens and add more details around the letters and into some of the florals too, which I will share our final pieces online.
Yeah, so keep an eye on Instagram for the pieces, the final when they're final and done. And Lori and Kenzie will be sharing.
Is anybody actually considering joining us in Portugal? We hope.
We would love to have you. Come paint with us.
Definitely. Yay. Oh my gosh. Donna. Hello.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So how do you transition from basic Crayola watercolors to better quality with my 6-year-old granddaughter? Is the Meeden product appropriate? Actually, that was given to her 6-year-old her 6-year-old son for a birthday gift.
Yeah, I think you just do it. Like he just dives in, and I mean, as long as you go in knowing that like I definitely have to take a breath and be like, okay, this might get messy, but it's okay.
She's a little more mess adverse than I am.
No,
I'm okay
my line is a mess is the sign of a good time.
That's right. Exactly.
I'm getting better.
She has got better. So I have a story about when they were little and I was painting with the boys, and it might have just been Nash actually.
I think it was just
when
Nash.
he was
little.
He was a baby, and so I had him just in his diaper and we were painting, and I showed him how he could paint on his belly. So he came in, he's got paint all over his belly, and she walks in the room and she goes, "Oh, I have to walk away. I can't handle this." And just this past Thanksgiving,
Oh.
I was trying to keep the boys entertained, and I had these like kids markers that are washable. And so they started drawing tattoos on my arms for me. And then by the end of the evening, they had tattooed all over their bellies, all over their feet with these markers.
Yeah.
So Mimi often gets them in trouble for being messy.
They don't get in trouble. They just
You have gotten better about it though, like more accepting of the mess.
yeah, well, I've learned that you can just clean it up.
That's right.
I had a friend who came home from the store with a big bag of flour and spilled it on the floor, and then her granddaughter just took all that flour and they just spilled it all and they made snow angels in the kitchen.
Oh, see, like I love when it can turn into like a core memory. That's what I've learned to embrace.
Right.
Well, Gudrun recently asked Kenzie to film with Tomty. Is that how you say that?
I think it's Tomta.
Tomta, the
It's
Tomta
tom
cake.
it's
Anyway,
tomte.
Tomte.
Yep.
I knew you would.
I was on
So
TV last week and my granddaughter corrected me because I always say tomte. She goes, no more, it's tomte.
Oh, well, so we were filming. I knew you would know the right pronunciation. So we were filming at our house making this cake, and doing baking with two boys is an interesting experience because Nash was like grabbing flour out of the bowl and smacking his hands together, and like so flour was going everywhere. Holden would take the egg and hold it like, maybe 20 feet or 20 inches above the bowl and let it go to crack the egg. It was pretty funny.
Laura, one of my favorite memories of my mom was when my oldest Tori was just a toddler. We stayed with them for an extended period of time, and my mom was very she was very artistic, even though she never went to school for it or anything. She was really good at flower design and interior design, and so she used to sit with Tori and draw and do all that kind of stuff. And well, she came out just laughing hysterically. And I said, "What happened?" And she said, Tori and I were drawing. And when we were done, I said, "Tori, what is that? What did you draw?" And she said, "Grandma, it's whatever you want it to be. It's called abstract art."
I love it. I love it.
Oh, it's cute.
So that's where you get it, huh? Your mama was creative too.
Yeah, that's where I get it. She was. She would have been amazing too if her dad hadn't pulled the old 1950s, you can be a teacher or a nurse on her, and she didn't want to be either, so he didn't want to pay for her to go to school. So
Well, I suppose we've come a long way in that area in
yeah.
some ways. Are you painting along? Is anybody
Oh,
painting along?
Lori, I'm painting with you.
Yay!
I'm making Christmas ornaments.
Oh my gosh. Susan, what are you registered to? What are you registered to Portugal, or are you registered? Is that the two that came in? You guys? Oh my gosh, I hope so.
What? Yeah, I said I hope so.
my friend,
I'm still keeping my fingers crossed. I want to see you everywhere.
well, if I win the lottery, I'll send you a ticket.
Okay. Mandy's
So at some
asking
point-
me how your Zoom was, so I'm telling her we're still on. So if she can join us,
I talked to her yesterday.
Yeah.
Man.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
So we're talking about our friend Mandy Blackford, who is going to be one of the speakers next year at the Live Courageously Rebloom conference. And she's amazing.
She is.
Oh, somebody else has to leave, I think.
Thank you for joining.
So I think who registered today were my friends Susan and Diana, who are also very fun ladies. We have quite the group. I just have to fill it because then it won't get canceled. So I think the company has given me till the end of January to fill it. That's the most stressful part is the promotion part because I'm not one to want to bug people or sell. But my friend Kathy yesterday was giving me all kinds of good marketing ideas, right?
Yep.
Kath?
Yep. I was because how we are as artists, and especially if we were formerly like, designers or art directors, it's like the old saying, physician heal thyself, only it's artist promote thyself, because we can come up with a complete plan for somebody else, but boy, when it comes to us, it's not the same.
It's just I never want to bug people.
I know.
I mean, I love sharing and I love sharing techniques and anything that will inspire creativity, but I don't know. It's different when you're like promoting.
Yeah. And yeah,
does
I agree with
anybody
Jennifer. Like, you're not a person that is a bug person anyway, so I don't think you're bugging anyone.
Well, I think it just feels like when you like I know they say like somebody has to see something 7 times, I think is the formula. But it just feels like when you keep putting the same message out there again and again and again and again, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe what, but I'm seeing all those messages. Not everyone necessarily is.
Right.
That's looking beautiful, Kenzie. I see you going now.
Yeah, it looks beautiful, Kenz.
The Posca pens, right? And just adding details.
Yep, now I just usually go in with my Posca pens and add. I'm trying to be better. One of my goals for 2025 is mixing like painting and digital art more, which I have been doing more and more lately, where I'll paint like a base layer, physically paint it, and then bring it in and add the details on my iPad.
Oh, very
fun. But I also love doing that with the Posca pens. These are like my favorite invention.
Yeah, they are. They're pretty great. Are there like Kath, would you want to share what you've done or anybody else?
Yeah, I'm painting. I found these little paper paper mache ornaments at craft store.
I'm gonna hang on. I'm gonna take the spotlight out of Kenzie, and then we'll see everybody. But then I need to find you. Do you wanna wave? Okay, I see you.
Happy though.
There you are.
Yeah, so I found these little blank paper mache ornaments, and I've been having a creative, a deep rut So I haven't really been making any art. And so I did a neighborhood thing where I created a backdrop for Santa to take pictures with the kids. And while I
That's
was
what you were
doing,
in your garage building? I was
yeah,
wondering what that was.
yeah. So I made Santa's workshop, and I was like, while I'm buying supplies for that, I'm going to buy these little ornaments. And so I just started, while I was waiting for things to dry, I just started painting them. And so I've got like,
That's a really fun size. Did you get those at Michael's?
I got them at Hobby Lobby. Not so, yeah, I'm just painting. I just kind of picked a little weird, not super traditional Christmassy palette, but it's kind of and then,
Fun.
and then I got this one. So I'm just
Oh,
like painting a little bit on each one as I
I love
let them
those.
dry.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you meet Jennifer Smelker? Jennifer, were you at the Art Biz Jam in Philadelphia? I don't know if you were, because that's how I met Kathy O,
Yeah.
was at the Art Biz Jam
I
in
was
Philadelphia.
That was before me. My first one was the virtual one. So Kath and I have not met until today.
Rats. Not
Okay.
yet, right, Laura?
Yep, she's pretty fun. My favorite memory of you is at that Art Biz Jam, we had 50 attendees, and getting their attention was not always easy. Kathy knows how to do that great whistle. So she would do the whistle to get everybody's attention and
Yeah,
help me
Laura.
herd the cat.
Yeah, Lori would wave at me, and she'd give me let's do it.
Work your magic.
Yep.
Reel them in. Anybody else want to share anything they're working on? Oh, Jennifer, you said now it's even more than 7 times because of the competition. Sure
Yeah,
seems that way.
that's it's it's a hard shift to shift our mindset from bugging people, or I mean that's with anything, whether we're pitching our art or we're trying to sell retail or wholesale. It doesn't matter what avenue it is, or you're trying to sell services, classes.
Right.
We're really not bugging people because they really don't see it nearly as often as we think or hope that they see our messaging, because there's just so much messaging out there now.
That's true.
So you should talk about your newsletter, and Kathy, you should talk about your book.
Aw,
So
thanks.
Yeah, Laura, thanks.
Hang on, I'm gonna spotlight Jennifer first.
okay.
All right, there you are.
Yeah. I am an engineer and became an artist later in life. And so I'm a nerd and I love to do deep dives in research and figuring out how things work. I had never sold wholesale before and figured it out. And just by doing research and diving in and making mistakes and learning from them along the way. So last year at Art Biz Jam, I kept talking about different techie things. People would ask questions and I'd answer, and someone suggested, you ought to start, like, you're just such a nerd. It's all this nerdy art news. And she's like, you need to start sharing it with us. So I did. And so for the past year, every week into about 250 people's inboxes, I send my nerdy art newsletter. And it's just a quick snippet once a week of a particular tech topic or something that's going a little more techy or a little more business oriented that will help your small business. So anything from the latest things in AI to Adobe updates, what they're doing, to maybe it's planning apps that will help you plan your business, or maybe it's conversations about money and how to make sure you pay yourself. So there's all these just different, not the artistic teaching, it's more of the helping us run our businesses. So you can sign up at tandemfor2.com. That's my website for everything. And I can give the direct link right in the chat. Oh, thank you. Anna found it.
I added in the chat for
Thank
everybody.
you. Yeah, so you can sign up. It's free. There's no hitch, and it's just in there.
Awesome. And then Kath, you wrote a book.
Yeah, I wrote two, and I just happened to have gotten samples. So I wrote this one. This is this one I wrote for my little grandson, and it's on Amazon. And then this is the art one. It's called The Art of No. And it's just about how if you do a little bit of thinking and writing and working, I think as artists, it's really hard. We have people ask us all the time to do things for free or do things for what might as well be free. And it's difficult for us, for whatever reason, to just say no, or to learn how to kind of make a dialogue for yourself inside, so that it's easier when you have these conversations with people, so that you get what you want out of the interaction and they do too. And so it's just it's not a very big book, and it has little places where you can take notes and ask yourself questions and stuff like that. Yeah, and actually Lori and our friend Mandy and our friend Margot, really they really encouraged me a lot to write everything down and uh and actually do it. And so yeah, I did it. Thanks, Anna.
Did it.
Yeah, I did
Anybody
it.
else share something that they worked on or what they're working on now? Looks like Susan. Oh, Susan had to leave. Darn. Marion, what would you like to sign up? Oh, you want to sign up for the nerdy newsletter? Somebody said they wanted to sign up for something and wanted the link, so I'm assuming it's that. It's in the chat.
It's in the chat. It's tandemfor2.com, nerdy art news. So you can find it right on tandemfor2.com.
And the link for Kath is in there too. Let's see who else. Anybody else need something?
I think I'm at a stopping point.
Oh, okay. Can you highlight Ken's again? I think she's finished with her
Well, for now, I have
with
to
her masterpiece.
rest on it and see if it needs any more, or if anybody has any suggestions.
It looks blurry to me. Does it look blurry to other people? I don't know why it's looking so blurry. Oh, Rosemary said she just launched her new website with her art on products, and she's working on licensing. Oh, licensing's a whole new world.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. And if you need questions or if you have anything you want to ask me, you can reach out.
Right.
Let's see. So we're down to the last few minutes. Does anybody want to share what they've worked on or show it? Oh, Mitzi said beautiful.
Thank you.
It does. It
Do
looks
more like
beautiful, Kenzie.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
We'll have to do more tag teaming.
I know. I think it's fun.
Yeah. Okay, so well, I'll just say a few more things to wrap up. So Portugal trip is next October 17th to the 24th. And if you want to check out more details, you just go to uptrek.com.
The link is in the chat also.
Yeah, the link is in the chat. But it's Uptrek, UPTREK, And then you'll have to search us, Kenzie and Lori Siebert and Kenzie Elston. And we're just gonna have a blast.
Yes, I can't
So,
wait.
And
And the place looks amazing.
I know. Well, I've heard it is. Like, it looks amazing, but sometimes pictures are deceiving. But I have friends who have taught there and said it's beautiful. And we'll have our own private chef, and we can accommodate any kinds of dietary restrictions. Like Gail is vegan, and so their retreats are all vegan. And she said it was amazing and wonderful food. So we'll take care of you and pamper you in all the ways possible. So can't wait. Hopefully some of you will come, or if not, if you go to my website, lorisiebert.com, I have a link for conferences and retreats that are happening. Look at me, I'm always a mess. Kenzie's probably very tidy. I'm always covered in paint.
It may be possible to hook up.
What?
Somebody asked, can you hook up with other travelers from the airport to the retreat?
Actually, Uptrek provides transportation from the airport to the retreat place. So the way that I've done this with other companies that I teach for, they'll have like maybe, I don't know if Uptrek will just do one time for pickup, but they'll give a pickup time. And if you get there a little early, you may have to hang out and wait because they'll pick up everybody at 1 or 2 assigned times, and they transport us to the retreat place. Thanks, Terry, for coming. Phoebe, are you already signed up to come, or are you debating on coming? Because Uptrek doesn't share with me who's signed up. The only reason I know that some of them are signed up is because they're friends and told me they're coming. Bye, Charity.
She's debating.
Oh,
thinking about it.
debating. Well, hope we can talk you into it today.
Yeah, hopefully the pendulum is swinging this way.
We're shamelessly promoting today against our nature.
We would love to have you.
So I painted a little more on my painting. It's still not where I kind of thought it was going to go, but I'll share that on Instagram afterwards. So any other questions or sharing? I don't see anything.
Somebody says, hope you'll do this again sometime.
Oh, that is a question. If we were to do more of these, what are you interested in learning from either I or Kenzie or us together? Because maybe we will put a series together. She almost put her sleeve in my paint. Is there anything else you would want us to do these little meetups about and sharing? No, nothing. Okay. Not interested in anything.
Anything you want to teach.
Exactly what we did today, flowers and lettering.
Oh, fun.
Mitzi, you should do these with your portraitures because you're so good at faces and your eyes, the way you paint eyes, amazing.
Is anyone
Thank you.
interested in learning digital art, or is it mostly painting?
Watching the
I
process.
would
Go ahead.
I would love to learn more about digital and Procreate, and yeah.
Okay.
Well, you won't learn that from me because I'm a tech dinosaur. What digital programs do you use?
I use Procreate and the Adobe Creative Suite. I've recently been working with Fresco more, which has been great. So yeah, textures in Procreate. Okay, awesome. This is good to know. I never know. I always feel like, what would people want to know from me?
All the things. Well, it's funny when you start teaching because, a lot of what you do becomes, it's like intuitive and second
Yeah.
nature. And you have to really put on a different hat when
yeah.
you're like sharing it.
Mhm.
Because like today I shared exactly what paint colors I use because some people like to know that or exactly the brush size. Whereas when I'm painting at home, usually I just grab and reach whatever I have. It's more intuitive. So I try to figure out what each person's style is and how they like to work. Like I'm teaching a woman now, I'm doing live Zoom classes with her and realized that the way she likes to paint is very controlled and she likes neutrals. And so I really try to teach to bring out each person's own style, the colors they like to work with, the way they like to work, so that by the end it doesn't all look like what we would make. It looks like what you love and what came from you and what's authentic. So that's kind of the way I like to teach. And I love it at the end when everybody shows their work. I like to end retreats with a show. So you like style your area and do like a closing show because it makes it really feel special. And then you get, there's just a sense of pride of what you accomplished. So thank you so much.
Thank you all for joining. This has been really great.
We didn't know if we would have enough to say for 2 hours, but we did.
That's a shocker.
Well, you helped
Thank
Miss
you.
Kathy.
No,
Thanks,
thank
my
you,
friends.
girls. Thank you, girls. You're the best.
Aw.
You're the best.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for
Bye.
coming. All right. Thank you, ladies. We'll see you soon.
So Anna, do I need to stay on for you to get the recording?
I don't think so. I think will come to me as I am the host. So
Okay.
we'll have to figure this out as it goes.
Yeah, I know.